Hey guys, Sherm here, and today I'm going to be testing the McLaren Senna GTR at Golden Max in Asphalt 9 in its multiplayer season. Please consider subscribing if you have not already, and be sure to check out my Sherm Clips channel, as well as my Purple Team Discord. You'll find the links to those down in the description, and I hope you enjoy these races. Also, I will be streaming this Saturday, and I've got a little surprise for everyone, so I hope you'll be able to be there. The McLaren Senna GTR is a somewhat odd car. It has almost the exact same stats as the regular Senna, except for only having 60% of the handling. Most of you guys know the regular Senna is the car with the highest handling stat in the game, and the only one above 100 at like 101 point something. Now, this GTR's is only about 60, but the rest of its stats are basically the same. And a lot of people are wondering, okay, this is like a track-focused version of the Senna, right? So why would the track-focused version of all things have lower handling than the regular car? Seems kind of weird. I don't exactly know why, but in any case, this car is also in a lower class than the regular Senna, Class A instead of Class S, which honestly is a good thing, since the Senna is one of the slowest cars in Class S and isn't really great in that class. It would have been much better if it were in A class, and so that's kind of what we got here, except of course for the handling not being as good. And the drifting is okay, it's nothing special, and honestly, that's really what I can say about this car. It's honestly not much special. Since it doesn't have that extreme handling like the regular Senna does, there's not really anything that sets it apart from the myriad of other higher-end A-class cars that you might find, and that we've gotten many times before. Also, as a kind of side note, isn't this one of the first times that we've gotten to actually play on Buenos Aires in multiplayer? I got this track a couple of times throughout my testing during the season, and I knew I just had to put at least one of them in the video, and it turned out to be a pretty close race too. For some reason, in this season, it didn't seem like we're maybe playing as much as before. So even in Silver League, I was in the top 500, and like in Gold League, I was top 200. So yeah, that is why like some of the races in this video are in lower classes. I've still had some pretty good races against them though. Now here we are getting into Gold League in one of the closest races I had all season against Priapo. Also, I kind of misspoke earlier when I said that this car was a higher end A-class car. It's more mid-tier. In my video about the max stats of this update, I said that this car's stats were similar to those of the Corvette ZR1, and yeah, that's pretty much how it drives too. That car has decent drifting, but not the best. None of its stats really all that stand out. So if you have the Corvette ZR1, which you guys know came out in the Rimac C2, now the Rimac Nevera Drive Syndicate a while back, recently, or maybe not so recently, like a year ago or so, I 5-starred it. And pretty much, if you have that car, you know what this one feels like. It's really not anything that you should go for just by itself. Now, if you want to be able to have a chance to get the Ultima RS or some of the later cars in the new British Tour season that we're doing right now, I would definitely recommend going for this car, because as we've seen already, like at some point you're going to have some of the previous cars at least unlocked that are in the season in order to progress to get later cars in the season. So that is why I unlocked the Amira, I unlocked the GT. I'm going to be trying to at least unlock this car so I can at least play, hopefully, pretty much every event in the season. And here, we very narrowly lost to Priapo, but it was only by 1/10 of a second, and honestly, that race was too close to not include it. And now we have another duel, which is on Cairo. I did have a lot of duels in Gold League in this season because, like I said, it didn't seem like quite as many people were playing it, and when that happens, you get a lot more duels when you get into the higher leagues. This car currently has a Star Hunt, a Passport event, and a Grand Prix going for it. Now, I did not forget to get into the Grand Prix like I did with the McLaren GT, so hopefully I'll get some more blueprints from that. Drop rates still seem fairly good inside of the Star Hunt. And then in the Passport event, it's pretty much like we saw with the McLaren GT, and we can get some Ultima blueprints in that event, which is pretty cool. So even if you aren't able to completely unlock the Ultima this update, if you've gotten some of the other cars in it, you should at least be able to get some Ultima blueprints for, you know, perhaps later if the Ultima comes in packs. So you might have a leg up on the people who didn't really bother going for many cars this update at all. Not that the Ultima is all that great of a car, to be honest with you. It's pretty much like the Zenvo TS1, so if you have that car, you don't even really need the Ultima, honestly, at this point. If you're a car collector and at least want to get it someday, I would absolutely recommend for at least trying to unlock all the cars in this update, as that's what I'm going to be trying to do as well. Recently, when I unlocked the Lotus Emira, I finally got to 110 cars. As many of you know, the Huracan Trofeo Super Evo back in Class D release, I don't even know how long ago at this point, was my 100th car. And ever since then, I haven't honestly been able to get all that many. However, in the last couple of updates, I have been able to get a lot more. And so I can definitely at least give some kudos to Gameloft for making it more possible to at least unlock a lot of the new cars, which is something that I'm really glad that they decided to do. And because of that, overall, I would say the changes made in the British Tour season to previous seasons are actually mostly positive. I mean, you have the issue of the top car probably being very difficult to get, but the thing is, that doesn't really matter all that much when pretty much all of the other cars are somewhat easy to get, you know, if you at least go through the Star Hunt and everything like that. And then you have the Grand Prix, which in the case of this car give up to like 50 blueprints for it if you get top 1, which is really crazy, to be honest with you. I have not really seen that before. Then again, we haven't really had Grand Prix for cars that weren't key cars that much before either, but I kind of like the way they're doing it. And what I would consider to probably be the best thing about this update is just the fact that we were able to get one of the new Class C Kings, the McLaren GT, which you should go check out my video about if you haven't seen it yet. We've been able to get that with much less struggle than it's taken recently to get some of the other highest cars in certain classes. Now granted, it is Class C, it's not like Class A or S or something like that, so it's not as useful. But still, it sets a fairly good precedent, and at this point, I hope that Gameloft continues to do these sorts of events with the Star Hunt and the Grand Prix, giving lots of blueprints. It is just so much better than having to get everything through packs or having these extremely difficult special events where you have to have like 6 different cars before in order to get. No, here it's just like, as long as you can get the first car, you're pretty much guaranteed to be able to get the second car, and so on. You just gotta play it sequentially, I suppose, which isn't really something we've gotten updates before. So the downside would be, okay, if you didn't have any time at all to be playing during the beginning of an update, you might be out of luck toward the end of the update, which is kind of in my case. I got my actual exam in 4 days from now, so haven't been playing as much as I might be able to, but after that, I should be able to play a lot more. So now it's time for my quick general review about this car. It was fun to drive overall, although nothing really special, but I probably would recommend still going for it since it's so relatively easy to get. Thank you all so much for watching. Please like the video if you have enjoyed, and consider subscribing for more Asphalt, Forza, Minecraft, and other games content. And I will see you in my next video. Goodbye!